Hey Pro Tools users, in this video I'm going to give you 5 reasons why every Pro Tools user needs a Raven. You ready? Let's begin. Number 1 is plugin control. With the Raven you can tweak the plugins directly on the screen just as if they were analog hardware. Let me show you. Here's my processing chain. I can add some high shelf, some high mid, widen my bandwidth, cut some lows, add some low shelf, add some compression, speed up the attack. It's instant, it's immediate, it's fast, it's intuitive. Every knob is a 1-to-1 ratio. In fact, so many Raven users say that the plugin control alone makes it worth the money. If I had a hardware control surface, I'd be confined to a bunch of generic controller knobs. I'd be looking back and forth to make sure the knob is controlling the parameter that I intended. It's really cumbersome. And another great thing is I can control multiple plugins at once. I can be tweaking my processing chain here, and then I can have my master bus tape machine here. After you start tweaking plugins on a Raven, you'll never want to go back to using a single click mouse, and you'll certainly never want to use generic controller knobs on a hardware control surface. Number 2, gestures. Using classic gestures just as you do in your smartphone, you can speed up your DAW workflow by tenfold. Let me show you. Before we were speaking about plugins, with a 3-finger tap, I can open my plugin and immediately start tweaking. Another 3-finger tap will close it. Then I can select multiple channels, and with a 2-finger double tap, I can instantly bypass all the plugins on those channels. Another 2-finger double tap, and they're enabled. Continuing with gestures, now we're on the edit window. I can select these tracks here. A 3-finger drag down zooms in, 3-finger drag to the right expands it on the whole screen. I can perform my edit, and then I can easily reverse it. 3-finger drag to the left and up, and now we're back to the whole session. We even have some great gestures for tracking. For instance, when you want to create some new tracks, get your hands off the keyboard and just simply swipe from the left. Number 3 is multi-touch mixing with your hands. There's no faster or more intuitive way than to mix with faders. And the Raven has 24 multi-touch faders. Now the fact that it has 24 faders is really important because so many hardware control surfaces come with a measly 8 faders. Let me tell you something, if you're mixing with just 8 faders, you're gonna be banking more than you are mixing. The Raven faders are super slick, super reactive. You can grab up to 10 at once, and it makes it so much faster and easier to mix over using a single standard 1-click mouse. Now, a lot of people ask if there's a major difference between hardware faders and software faders. And the answer is surprisingly no. I mean, I can raise the fader to get more level, I can lower the fader to get less level, and the movement is exactly the same, and it's extremely easy. However, there are several advantages to having a virtual software fader over a hardware fader. Now, number 1 is my faders here in Pro Tools are color-coded. That makes it so easy to navigate exactly where I am in the mix, and I know exactly what faders I'm moving. So for instance, here are my drum faders in red. I can immediately start tweaking. Another advantage of virtual touch faders over tactile faders is doing small, precise automation moves. Now, when I was on tactile faders, if I wanted to do a small vocal ride, I would always have to do it over and over again to get it right. With Raven, not so. I can go into fine fader mode, and I can take this vocal fader, and I can move my finger 6 to 7 inches, and watch, it confines the fader to just small 1 to 2 dB moves. So you can get fast, precise automation moves right the first time. Number 4 is something that I could not mix without. It's called the batch commander. Now think of the batch commander as your own private DAW butler. A batch command is a button that can execute up to 1,000 key commands, menu selections, and mouse clicks. Let me show you it in action. Here I have my 3 vocal channels selected. Now I want to populate them with my favorite go-to plugin chains and send chains. And with batch commander, I can do it in one button. Now if I want to remove these plugins and sends, one more batch command does it all for me. Another batch command that I cannot live without is my custom fader groups. If you look to the lower left, these are my batch commands for custom fader groups. These allow me to instantly access the faders I want to see without having to bank. Let me show you. Let's say I want to mix my vocals. I hit my vocal fader group, and now right in front of me are all of my vocal faders. I can launch my guitar fader group, and now all my guitar faders are right in front of me. I can load my drum fader group, and now I can immediately start mixing my drums, and then I can hit the all fader to return back to the whole entire mix. Another great use of batch commands is programming your favorite audio suite processes to one button. Let me show you. I can highlight this vocal section here, and with one button, I can reverse it. And number 5 is the Slate Remote. The Slate Remote allows you to control your session from any iOS device. This is great for audio engineers who are recording themselves and can't be near their systems. Let me show you a few things in action. For one, I can just hit play and stop. But then I can get a little clever and I can loop the chorus. I can loop the verse. Or I can create a new track and start recording in one button. So now I hope you understand why the Raven is such an incredibly useful tool for any Pro Tools user. So call your Slate dealer and grab one today.